Welcome to the program. There is the People's Bench coming to you from Game Suits here in Riverside, Nairobi, and I'm your host, Fred Ogwang. Tonight, I'm privileged again to have one of the leaders who says it the way it is without mincing words. And again, the country is mourning. As a nation, we've lost a young man who was full of life. That is Albert Ojwang, who lost his life in the hands of those who were supposed to protect his life. And everybody seems to be running away from the responsibility. We are seeing leaders trading blames. Everybody is saying, oh, it is not me. Everybody is calling for the DIG, Eliud Lagat, to resign. When are we going to see the end of this kind of unjustifiable, brutal killings in the hands of those who are supposed to protect the youth of our country, and to bisect this, to look at it and elucidate in terms of what really and what exactly happened and where are we as a nation? I'm having Mr. Odoyo Widi here with me in the studio. How are you, Mwalimu?
How are you, my brother?
Nice to see you again.
It's long since we saw each other.
Yes, it's long. Yes.
This new year after Madaraka Day, hatujaonana.
Hatujaonana.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm happy to see you.
I'm happy to see you too.
Looking handsome as usual.
I appreciate.
With a sexy trouser.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. I need to keep more of these. Huh? Thank you, Mwalimu.
Yes, my brother.
The nation is mourning, Mwalimu.
It is unfortunate.
Yes.
It is unfortunate that every time there is a crisis in this country, be it electoral crisis, whatever other crisis, now it is social media crisis, it is the Luo that pays the ultimate price. It is us, our sons, our daughters, our youth, or anybody else. It is very unfortunate, and I have to send my condolence once again to the family of Albert Ogwang. It wasn't their plan, it wasn't probably even God's plan that such a young soul has to be lost at such an early time in life. But we as a people must go back and find out where could be the problem. It is unfortunate that in a country like ours, especially in Africa generally, people are lazy thinkers. People are lazy in their reasoning. People don't dig deep in what could be the problem. If they walked into your house, found a dead person there, and found you with a knife in your hands, they will assume you are the murderer. We need to dig deep in everything so that we find out the whole truth, the undeniable truth. But many people will look at superficial evidence and then make a decision very quick from there and start crucifying anybody we find around.
But Mwalimu,
we have seen people who have been lynched by the public for crimes they did not commit. That is why investigations are necessary anywhere, anytime.
Mwalimu, not when they are taking a whole century.
And I am telling you, these investigations that have been done in the last few months have been done so fast, including the one that arrested the suspects in the murder of Kasipul MP Ngondowere. I have never seen an investigation that moved so fast. Even this particular one, the investigation, I think, is moving well, considering that this boy died in the hands of the police and something is being done. And I'm sure the police is trying very hard to get to the bottom of this matter to appease the public.
Mwalimu, not when the police are investigating themselves. You know, we have seen this. Police are so comfortable with IPOA, and every time today is even coming a cliche that when something happens to you, police is so comfortable to tell you go to IPOA.
Let me tell you something that is going to happen. The police as a service is not an individual. The police as a service is not a community, single community. The police as a service is a conglomeration of many communities, many types of people. Inside that police force, there are criminals. Inside that police service, there are also very good people. There are also different tribes. There are also people who have allegiance to different political parties and political formations. But there's something I want to tell Kenyans, especially members of my community, the Luo. It is not possible that a man at the stature of the DIG, if he wanted to kill or murder somebody at the stature of Albert Ogwang, that he would go arrest him in Homa Bay, pass many hills and valleys and darknesses, and bring him right into a police cell, and then have him killed there. He would have done it differently. I think people need to understand what politics is and what politics can do. There are people who have killed their own very close relatives to blame it on the opponent so that they win the people, so that they win electoral positions. I am telling you, in the police force which we have today, which we simply inherited from what Uhuru used to have, the same police force which used to kill people, and we find them in Rivayala. The same police force that murdered Luos in the streets of this town and saying they must be murdered because they are incomplete men. That is the same police force that President William Ruto inherited. The only thing he may have done is presided over the appointment of senior police officers at the top.
I hear you.
The investigation must find out, first of all, the source of the statements that Ojwang had made against the DIG that made him arrested. It is even possible that when the rogue policemen in the system who support the different political formation, who support the opposition, discovered that it is the IG, deputy IG himself, that had complained, that had the humility, instead of using the firepower at his disposal, misusing his office, decided that I, like every other Kenyan, must go and report. They may have hatched a plot that when the person is finally arrested, we will have him killed in the police cells so that the government and him is blamed. You remember in the near past, Rigathi Gachagua himself had spiked his attack and criticism of DIG Lagat. And he knows very well that the police force is headed by a man from his backyard, but he was never attacking him. He was ever on the case of Lagat. And Kenyans didn't see something funny, that despite the fact that Lagat was a deputy to somebody else, he was the one being attacked for the police atrocities. It means there was a plot to have him removed, partly because also the police chief, the IG himself, is about to retire. In fact, he should be retired by now. That is one of the reasons that could be bringing these things, so that Lagat is removed from office before his boss resigns. But that is not all. One thing that could also be the reason is politics. I don't know, my people, if they have not known that we are being taken for a ride in this country. Because it is in this country called Kenya that recently there was a Luo gentleman in Naivasha who was arrested by game rangers, taken and murdered, and we never even found his body. These people who are today helping us mourn more than we are doing never said a word of it. There were many people who were killed in, I think, Turkana or Pokot. Nobody said something about it.
Angata Barakoi.
Yes. So if you see these people, this case now involving Lagat is the one they want to say everything in the world about. If you go to the city mortuary and check the Gensis who are bullying people there, our boys were very few there. There is somebody sponsoring mayhem towards the reading of the budget to cause chaos in the country.
Mwalimu, don't you think that it could be normal for somebody to think that whatever you are saying could be a diversionary tactics by the government to put the blame on the opposition so that you run away from responsibility of the government having, or police officers having murdered Albert Ogwang in police custody. Which investigation again do we expect from ordinary Kenyans? This young man was in the hands of the police. It is the police themselves to tell us who killed Albert Ogwang.
You know, the boy did not find himself in the hands of the police by accident. It is the police who brought it from his home.
Absolutely.
If the original intention was to have him murdered, it was possible they could even go to his home in the wee hours of the night, as if they are thugs. Kill Ojwang and leave. Kidnap him, go and kill somewhere, throw him in River Yala and go. So that the police won't be blamed. But the police are not stupid to come and take somebody from his home in daylight, identify themselves, tell the whole family that we are policemen, take him first through the nearest police station, bring him to Nairobi, into another police station, and then kill him, and then expect to escape with it. Which stupid policeman is that? I think we need to stop being shallow thinkers. We need to stop being convergent thinkers. I think we need to stop promoting propaganda, because if these people succeed in making us believe that the policeman wanted to kill this boy and he was killed the same way he died, I think we are going to encourage propaganda. We must tell these people that we want clear investigation of what happened, because there is no policeman the stature of Lagat who is stupid enough to do what happened. Even the reason that was given at first was more stupid than stupidity itself. That he hit itself. You know,
yes.
Human beings were created in such a way that when you do a painful self-inflicted injury, you pass out so that you don't continue. That is how God created us. So it is not very easy for you to hit yourself with anything until you die, unless it is something that hits you once and you die.
And they wanted us to buy that.
But you want to hit yourself on the wall, the head, the nose, the cheeks. It is not possible. So I am sure the DIG or anybody else being accused know better than that. So some of these people who are in Central Police Station are sympathizers of the oppositions, and they wanted to get either DIG out or ensure the government continues becoming unpopular as time goes on. You saw what happened in Homa Bay. When we were in Homa Bay, President William Ruto was welcomed like no anywhere else in Kenya. There has never been a national holiday where the stadium was so full. The people of Homa Bay literally slept overnight at the Homa Bay Stadium to welcome President William Ruto. And that is something you know the opposition would not take kindly. They would not be happy with it. So what do? They need a death from Luoland, a death from Homa Bay in the most stupid and brutal way, so that Ruto loses the support in Homa Bay County. Let us be open. Let's think outside the box. You know, there are certain things that look too simple and too obvious to be true, and this is one of them.
I hear you.
I think the government has better ways if it really wanted to kill anybody covertly. I think the DIG would have found a much, much better way to murder this boy if he needed to be. But again, even what this boy did not deserve murder. What he wanted to do was to appear that he's having humility enough to also report an offense against him like everybody else. But he little did he know that there are some people within his force himself who would want to use that opportunity to paint him with blood.
But again, Mwalimu, I can't let you go with that. We have seen people who have been abused in social media. You yourself, how many times you've been abused there?
Many times.
You've been called, unprintable words. Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga has been called names, President William Ruto himself has been abused, every day, but he's never, arrested everybody. What was this so special that DIG had to have this boy apprehended?
And let me also tell you, this is not the first boy to ever been apprehended for what he says on social media. Let me tell you something about the social media. For us politicians, insults on social media is our daily bread. But for a civil servant whose reputation depends on what people think and say about him, such insult in social media is not acceptable. Even myself, when I was working in government, there's a senior blogger in this country who had said, I am actually the one who is who grabbed the Kikuyu houses from Kibra and I'm taking rent of them. And because he didn't apologize, I took him to court and won the case. But I left it at that because I was now satisfied that I was right. I had no defense. So when you are going to besmirch people on social media, slander people on social media, insult people on social media, first of all, make sure they are not politicians. For me, you can tell me anything on social media because the whole world knows that social media is a place where politicians are abused, are insulted. Everything in social media to a politician is an allegation. But for a civil servant whose reputation depends on that, it is very difficult. There was a time I was chairman of Lake Basin Development Authority, and the EACC was ever arresting people at the Lake Basin Development Authority. And whenever they were coming to arrest, or whenever they are coming to interrogate, they would first of all call the media and tell them what they are going to do. So one day I realized that potential customers from South Africa who wanted to rent the mall as a supermarket would go to social media to do due diligence and see these things. So I simply walked to EACC in the offices and called the guys there, and we sat around a table. And I told them my mind for almost 45 minutes. And after a few days, the culprits were arrested, they were taken to court, and now they are free. In fact, they are free without losing the case. They won. So sometimes, what you write in social media will stay there forever. If it is against a company, against an individual, when somebody is doing due diligence on him online, that is what you will find. So it is not a good thing to say, to tell lies about somebody, to slander somebody on social media, because social media is online.
But that is why the courts are there. You took the right procedure to have the young boy arrested and taken to court.
Yes.
You know, that is the right procedure. But why would these civil servants claim to be as clean as Caesar's wife when we see police collecting bribes almost on a daily basis? When we look at our newspapers, you know, we see cases of corruption, I mean, becoming the order of the day, inflated budgets, budgeted corruptions. Why do they want to behave now as if there is no corruption in police?
I think,
just before you come in, right now we are about to recruit new police officers. We know the conversation in the villages that unless you have 700,000, you know, you cannot have your boy or your girl join police. So why are we behaving as if DIG just dropped yesterday from heaven?
I appreciate your contribution to that debate about bribery and such in the police force. I appreciate that. But you must also know, as I told you in the opening statement, that the police force is not an individual. It is not an individual person. It is not an individual community. It is not an individual region. It is a whole conglomeration of human beings brought together from throughout the country that has thugs, pickpockets, robbers, and everybody else in it. And on their individual capacities, they can do anything, including murdering an innocent young man who has been brought in for interrogation and subsequent arraignment in court. But because they want to get political mileage, they will take a life. And that is what happened. And you talking about there will be recruitment of police, and if you don't have, that has been happening. Now we are in the government of President William Ruto. There is no police recruitment that has taken place since President William Ruto came to power. If there would be people within the police force or anywhere else who will be selling recruitment to the police force at whatever cost, if they are caught, they will be taken to court and they will be jailed. The fact that I have done something illegal, you can't take it on my family. You can't take it on the company I work for. You can't take it on my clan or my political party. Everybody must take responsibility for his crimes as an individual.
Mwalimu, I hear you. And there is the people's bench where we say the way it is. And I appreciate you for that. You were in this country when MPs were being reported in social media and mainstream as working with appointment letters for teachers from TSC. You were here. You were not in the US, or you were not in the moon. You were here when we were seeing members of parliament dishing out those TSC recruitment letters or forms or whatever thing you say, given to constituencies. If that was able to happen, now they are telling us that these police recruitments are going to take place online. Don't you think that is just something?
Let me tell you something about politics. We politicians sometimes want to show the people that we can do for them something, that we can help them get jobs. Take, for example, my constituent applies for a job in an organization. I can reach the bosses. Then they finally tell me, oh, your constituent finally succeeded in this interview and is going to be taken, and this letter is ready. If I choose, for political reasons, to go and collect that letter myself and take and give it to him in public, it may not necessarily mean I favored him. It's only that I was being cheeky, trying to use something that has gone well to go and give the letter. It is possible that to please the person getting the job, he may have done the interview and passed like everybody else. The only thing that the politician may have done is to deliver the letter. But let me also tell you something about this. The society where we are all corrupt. That is why we have EACC to deal with us. That is, we have DCI to deal with us. That is why we have courts to deal with us. We are collectively very corrupt people. What our leader must do is to ensure that he puts a system that deals with these corruptions, deals with these crimes, pole and effectively. Because today I was sitting as MPs themselves were interrogating the police chief and the CS Interior. And I was listening. Some of the questions were as stupid as anybody can think about. A whole Senate you go to ask a police officer why somebody had to be transported from Homa Bay to Nairobi. That is something you don't need to even ask the police. Find out the police procedures. Recently, there was a suspect who was arrested almost crossing the border into Tanzania in the border of Ngondowere. He was brought straight to Nairobi. Did anybody make noise? Why are you bringing him to Nairobi and the police cells Uko? A case is handled where it is reported. You cannot have one suspect is in Homa Bay, another one is elsewhere, and the court is in Nairobi. Are you going to process this gentleman in Homa Bay, but take him to court in Nairobi? So some of the questions I even see our senator ask, I wonder how they even get to those positions. Ask these people serious questions, which will unveil what really happened, which will put them, you know. But when you hear people asking, why did he have to be? Those are grazing field questions asked by two young men grazing their father's cattle.
I get you, Mwalimu. You come from an area, or the area where, close to where this young man, Albert Ogwang, who lost his life, is coming from. And we saw during or after the murder of Kasipul MP, Ngondowere, we saw the solidarity, we saw the unity that the members of parliament from ODM, particularly in Nyanza, were able to show. They were mourning together. They visited Ongondo's family together. We have not seen this kind of solidarity, them standing with Mzee Ojwang. This has been left to members of the civil society and the Gen Zs. What's happening?
That is not even all, Fred.
Tell me all.
I was shocked when I saw some of those MPs from my clan, my Homa Bay County, frothing in the mouth of what happened. Of course, everybody is mad about it. But one fellow MP, the late Ngondowere, bundled 3 young men from Oyugis at night, drove them, and they reached Nairobi at 3 a.m. and were bundled into Central Police Station just like Ojwang. They were fortunate that I was there very early in the morning to rescue them. And I demanded to know why they were being arrested. And I demanded to know if they are going to be taken to court. And they told me they would not be taken to court. So I told them, if you are not going to take them to court, let me bail them out and come and take them to court the day you are ready. Today, they have not been taken to court. This Ongondowere, a fellow MP, where these people are coming from. And they never made so much noise. So they are making much noise why this man was transported from Homa Bay to Nairobi. But that one was an MP who went reporting that these people had slandered him and they were put in a vehicle and brought to Nairobi. And he used his influence as an MP. So these pretenders are worse than murderers. Let them not pretend. And sometimes I get so mad when I saw the son of Ongondowere himself in his Facebook account is also attacking DIG Langat for this thing. This is the same man whose father in his own car carried 7 goons, went and knifed somebody in a hotel in Oyugis. And you know what he said on his social media account, which is still there today? That Mujumbe si mtu wa kuchezewa.
The son said that?
The son, the one who wants to be our MP today, said Mujumbe si mtu ya kuchezewa. And that is not all he said. He even said, as the man was being chased by a knife and he ran into a bar and picked a bottle, he said he was knifed because he picked a bottle to defend himself. This boy here who is now wanting to be our MP. This is the same boy whose father bought land in Meru to bury the people he has killed. And he's here telling us that what had happened to this boy is very bad. I know it is bad, but there are people who have no moral authority to even tell the world that it was bad.
Tell me, Mwalimu, I saw some statement also attributed to CS Matiang'i, also condemning the police for...
Matiang'i. Is it the same Matiang'i who was once Interior Minister? Interior CS? Matiang'i.
Of course, yes.
The one who presided over bodies bundled nicely and thrown into River Yala. The man who disobeyed 12 court orders. The man who put Meguna into a plane and sent him to Canada. A man who was born in Kano. Or is there another Matiang'i?
No, the same one who was there when Musando was murdered.
This Matiang'i presided over more deaths than any other interior minister in this country.
But he wants justice. He wants justice for
who?
For Albert.
Justice should also be delivered in such a way that first come, first serve. The injustice Matiang'i caused people in this country, he should have shut down, kept quiet until this thing is over. In any case, the truth will come out. The rogue policeman who killed this boy will have to face the law and will have to be punished. And I even wished people who do premeditated murder would have still been facing death row. Because premeditated murder is something you decide that somebody's life is not worth it, it is only yours. So I think even the constitution that removed death penalty on murder should not have been. Should have removed it on murder, but premeditated murder should be punished by death. Well, you cannot kill somebody's son the way this boy was killed. But one thing I want to tell Kenyans, the DIG neither planned, ordered, or presided over the killing of this boy.
Have you spoken with him?
It is policemen, and they are policemen who have been sent by somebody else to ensure that either Langat leaves office or the government is painted with blood.
Who sent them, Mwalimu? If not DIG.
I have told you from where I'm sitting. I even took you through what politics can do. There's a time I even sat here and told you there was a time in 1963 where a politician killed his own relative who was also his own chief campaigner to blame it on the opponent and win the seat. And it did happen. So in politics, people can do anything. But you cannot tell me a policeman of the stature of the DIG can go and get somebody from his home, have the people who go for him identify themselves, bring him into Nairobi, put him in a cell, kill him in the cell, and the next day give a stupid excuse. Not possible. Let us be divergent thinkers. Let us not be lazy thinkers. Let us wait for this.
So Mwalimu, as we are winding up, we saw the likes of Rigathi Gachagua, who were there when the young people were being slaughtered in Kisumu. You remember the kind of slaughter that we saw in 2023 in Nyalenda in Kisumu. Police were literally pulling people outside, I mean from their homes, and killing them. Certainly we've seen all politicians coming out, not bad to condemn. Don't you think there are a lot of politics now at play that we may not, the whole justice thing might get lost in politics?
These politicians, especially the senior ones, are taking us for a ride. If you listen to the nonsense Rigathi has said about the Luo people, and today he's busy telling us that our Luo MPs are quiet as this has happened, is to get it all wrong. If this gentleman has been killed, it is not difficult to find the killers. In fact, this is the easiest case to investigate, because the place of death is known. The people who arrested him are known. The people who took him to the mortuary are known. So this is just about putting things together. So why are we making so much noise? Why are we in a hurry to have Lagat to go home?
Because we don't trust the police to investigate themselves.
Let me tell you, the moment you commit a crime in the police force, you cease to be one, and you are investigated. And I heard some people saying that then the investigation should take place when Lagat is home. Lagat was not at the scene of crime. The only mistake Lagat is supposed to have done is to report. And I think that is something we should commend him with. I am a whole DIG, but I still go to file a complaint. My brother, that is humility at its best.
What do you make of the president's statement? You know, it was not strong enough. It was lacking in appropriate actions, you know, and decisions to be taken.
The Bible says those who have a lot of power should use it sparingly. The president, in fact, as of now, it's just because people are making so much noise, he shouldn't even have talked. All he needed to do is pick the phone from where he is and say, I want you to get to the bottom of this matter. That is all he needed to say. But now that he even made it public, that is good enough. Let the work be done. There's a way in which if he talks, somebody may be crucified even if he is innocent. And I think what the president did was humility at its best.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate. And with that, we come to the end of the People's Bench. I have been your host, Fred Ogwang, with Mwalimu Odoyo Widi. One thing I love about him is that he never meanders and goes, going round. He hits it, the nail on the head. We have been coming to you live from Game Suits here in Riverside, Nairobi. And until next time, I say bye-bye.